I wanted so much but forbidden to touch, so I loved her from 6 feet away. Our eyes met, I nodded, she nods in return. My tongue froze, I'd nothing to say. At that beautiful face, I stared across that space, and I loved her from 6 feet away. 2 people, 2 yards to have, not to hold. She held me complete in her sway. I wanted so much but forbidden to touch. I loved her from 6 feet away. Don't think I can make it, don't think I can fake it, keeping these feelings at bay. 2 lost lonely hearts, 2 meters apart, 2 wishing this sickness away. So this is how love is, 2020. The future's not like this, I pray. But when this life is over and I meet the clover once more, I'll be 6 feet away. 2 people, 2 yards to have, not to hold. She held me complete in her sway. I wanted so much but forbidden to touch. I loved her from 6 feet away. Oh, how I long to ask her to lift up her mask, but I loved her from 6 feet away.
Hi, everybody. How are ya? It's good to see you. Suddenly got very, very quiet. Charlie, Sav, Brianna, you guys, everybody actually can unmute themselves. This is an unusual Tuesday Tech Talk. I have opened up the chat wide open. I have opened up the mute switch so you guys can all be free to interrupt. No, not.
I have a very upset cat right now meowing at the door, so I'm just muting him intermittently. So.
Okay. All right, we're gonna try this. So I'm gonna ask you all who are joining us right now to use the what do you call it? Mute speaker mute. Good, I hope. Anyway, if you don't just see me, you should see myself, Sav, Brianna, and Charlie. All on your screen. You're in the speaker view. If you're in the gallery, everybody, and that's your choice. We're talking kind of tiny. Hi, Brianna.
Hey, there's someone's microphone is making a lot of white noise, however, and so I can barely hear Annie. There we go.
Guys. All right, let's have everybody stay muted. There you go, Chris. Let's see what we got. Maybe it's Charlie. No.
I am unmuted right now, but I can.
Annie, I'm sorry, I missed what you said right when you said ask everybody to do what?
Mute yourselves.
Oh, unmute? Okay.
No, stay muted, David. Just for
stay muted. Okay.
Yeah, I've given you the power. This is oh my gosh. Well, first of all, for those of you who are following all the happenings here with the Folk Alliance region Midwest and our virtual connections, we've we've got a crazy week. Or crazier, or maybe it's not so crazy to think that 2 hours a day would feel like a lot, but it does. So we've got we started our private showcases last night, and we've got 2 more tonight and 2 more tomorrow night, and then we've got today's Tech Talk, and we've got Tuesdays or Thursdays community peer group session, and we have the Wisdom of the Elders on Friday, and we have our big keynote speech with John McCutcheon, and our annual general meeting. And this is like a lot all happening at once. And we thought today's Tech Talk would be really fun if we just kind of had an open Q&A. And we've done these before where we've invited back our panelists who are extremely knowledgeable in all areas. Many of them know a lot about the same stuff. Some of them have very unique information about certain things, and we're just gonna go around the room, introduce everybody, and chat about it. Typically at our Tech Talks, those of you who attended before, we ask you to use the raise hand feature, and so you can go ahead and do that in the participant window in the lower left corner if you have a question, or you can go ahead and enter your question in the chat. Now, we have opened up the chat as well so that everybody in the meeting can see the questions. So we're not going to stop you from answering them. So if somebody like Chris asks a question and somebody else in the meeting knows an answer, well, I say go for it. So yeah, this is just going to be fun. I feel like I'm forgetting to say something else that's sort of important, but I think those are the primary things.
Look in your email box for your ballot to vote on Farm's election. Today is the last day you can vote. There we go.
Excellent, Charlie. Good job.
Hey, Charlie, your lighting is on par. I bet you know something about lighting.
We're trying. I watch a lot of YouTube.
So I just want to, full disclosure, when I kicked, the reason we're a little bit late is I started the live stream, and because I use Restream, I have it attached to both my personal pages and the farm page. And when I first kicked it off, I had forgotten to select farm and instead selected all of my personal pages from the last stream. And so Farm's Tech Talk started streaming to my personal pages. So I had to stop that and start it over again. And what I was excited about is that you were all none the wiser. So that means I got my act together and the screen share didn't screw up. And Chris, I beg your forgiveness, because I'm pretty sure now I know what happened last night and we can explain it, but it's my fault. So we tried to go live. So Zoom had but this is important. It's a tech thing, so I'm going to say it. Chris had his private showcase last night. He hosted a private showcase. He was the very first one, Hickory Ridge Concerts. And I agreed to run the tech for him because, I thought I knew what I was doing. Turns out there are things I don't know. But
I didn't know what I was doing, so when you
well, Brandon had talked about this very thing the one time something went wrong for him on the live stream from Zoom through Restream out to Facebook was when he was the host for Don White, because he was not signed into Don's Zoom account. And for those of you who don't care about this, I'm sorry, but this is actually good information. So in our case with Chris, I wanted to help him out by actually running the live stream for him. So I had him make me the host of his meeting because a co-host can't do it. So when he made me the host of his meeting, I had the ability to live stream, but what I didn't have was access to his Zoom account. So I wasn't logged into his Zoom account. So the stream didn't work and we couldn't figure it out. So let that be a lesson to you all. If you want somebody else to host your meeting for you and do your live stream, they also have to have access to your Zoom account and be logged in. And that is all I'm going to tell you today, because these other people are much smarter than me. And so we're going to end. And Sav, I have that exact same blanket that's hanging over your head on my couch right now.
Oh, yes. I use this for soundproofing. So it's a good blanket for that.
Awesome. All right, I'm going to actually, what the heck? I'm starting with Sav. Let's go around the room, everybody, and introduce ourselves, say hi, and share something new with us. So Sav Buist, go ahead.
Yeah, hi. My name is Sav Buist. I'm a member of a band called The Accidentals. We're super familiar with Folk Alliance. We love Folk Alliance so much. It's done amazing things for us in the past, and we've met a lot of friends there. I wrote a tutorial on OBS at the beginning of the year, and that's been for most streaming platforms like OBS to Facebook, OBS to YouTube, OBS to Periscope, and a bunch of others. And I also kind of dove into StreamYard this year. So those are the two platforms that I use the most. And I've done lots of sessions with people kind of one-on-one over Zoom, guiding them through how to use OBS. And I've also done a lot of tech talks like these, including with the Recording Academy this year. I've worked with a couple of venues like the Bluebird Cafe and Club Passim on getting them started. And it's been really amazing. I've met a lot of people through it, and it's been really cool. Made a lot of new friends. So, yeah, that's what I'm here for, is to talk about OBS, Open Broadcasting Software.
Woohoo! The thing that everybody probably knows by now. But hey, Charlie Mossbrook, you can unmute yourself now. And
All right. Hey, I'm Charlie Mossbrook. I am a member of the farm board. I'm a singer-songwriter, and I am president of a small presenting group out of Cleveland called FolkNet. We're running a showcase this evening, so be sure to drop in. And I think right after us is Jenny and Robin Beidemans. I began 2020 going down to FAI in New Orleans with this idea of starting a YouTube channel called Charlie's Open Mic, where I do interviews and performance with a different guest each week. And I started the year with this idea, and I had this a videographer who was going to work with me, and we got about 6 shows into it, and all of a sudden I realized that video was really the right direction that I needed to be going. Because my videographer wasn't able to join me beyond lockdowns, he's got a 90-some-year-old mother who he takes care of. He didn't need to expose himself to anybody. I started buying gear. I used my stimulus money for a new laptop, for a new camera, and then another new camera and a lighting kit. And oh my God, well, we're musicians, we get it. You know, you open that Pandora's box, and all of a sudden you start purchasing, and you're on Amazon just about every other day, thinking this is what I need next. And so mostly I've been working in YouTube with some streaming on Facebook and some live streaming on YouTube. That's been my primary go-to, and I really enjoy it. I've been having fun with the video and embracing this world of the virtual musician, and I think I like video editing as much, if not more, than I like audio editing, which is one of my favorite production
I've always
places
thought
to
you
be.
were crazy that way.
What's that?
I always thought you were a little crazy that way.
The editing.
The video production. No, super fun.
Yeah.
Thanks, Charlie. Brianna Lane, in addition to the obvious talents of knitting, did you make the scarf that you're wearing?
I did. I made the scarf that I'm wearing. It's one of my favorites. Yeah, I'm a knitter. I'm trying to crochet too. It's an adventure. I am really just knowledgeable about StreamYard. Other than that, I am on the opposite end of things. I'm not embracing how we are in the music world as much as other people are. I mean, I'm embracing it because we have to, but I am stubbornly sad about it. But making do. StreamYard doesn't have much new, and I feel like I did my talk so early on that I've answered a bunch of questions, but I just, if you haven't used StreamYard yet, you probably will. And there's just one new nugget of change, that is, they changed some audio situation. I forget what it used to say, but now it says echo cancellation. And I don't know enough about it to say what has been successful, even because I've just been experimenting with I host 2 shows a week, and I say, I ask my artist, what are you using for audio? Can you unclick the thing? Can you click the thing? And it seems to help in general, whether you're using an off whether you're using an onboard microphone on your computer or phone, or if you're using a USB, but microphone or audio interface. But I'm not sure. Yeah, so if someone can enlighten me, if someone has done more reading on it, I just take it experimentally and on artist to artist basis, and see what works for that particular day. We are rounding the bend on our last 3 shows coming up, and then I'm gonna take a little break. So that's me. Oh, and I'm in Minneapolis, and it's snowing like crazy, and it's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And I run a venue called the Warming House, and I'm also a musician.
Really
Was that
important.
good?
You know, rounding the bend, I learned from a politician, just means we're going in circles.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that guy.
I'll stop. I think maybe Trevor Noah said that.
Yeah, I know you have an answer to Brianna's question because I'm curious.
Yeah.
Yeah. So StreamYard, before they had disable audio settings as an option, which when you clicked it, it kept it from basically the browser settings compressing your audio. Because half the time when you go straight into Facebook or YouTube, the problem is it's so used to just one voice talking into a camera like Zoom. That if you have a guitar in the mix along with your voice, it treats your guitar like background noise and starts trying to get rid of it, which leads to just this squashed sounding kind of thing. So by clicking disable audio settings, you were able to get rid of that. What I think might have happened is that they just incorporated that as a full-time thing. So now you have 2 options. You have stereo audio and you have echo cancellation. The echo cancellation I feel like is really useful for when you don't, not everybody has headphones on. However, I do think it squashes the sound a little bit, and I also think stereo audio does a similar thing. So in the recent shows that we've been doing, we typically have everybody use an audio interface or a USB microphone, and everybody wears headphones, and that keeps it from having echo going throughout and having any compression on the audio that you don't need. And we're actually hosting a show tonight like that on our Facebook, or sorry, on our Crowdcast is where we're hosting it. So that's just one option to consider for StreamYard.
Cool.
Okay, so this was my experience, and let me make sure that I understood the answer to that question. So I used StreamYard for the very first time last Friday night. Two-Way Street Coffee House uses it, and it was great because as an artist, all I did was click a link. I was in. We did this thing, and he said we use a Delphina Ear Trumpet Labs into my Focusrite
Yeah.
thingy. Red box by Scarlett, and he had us uncheck echo cancellation.
Yes.
And our sound was actually really good. And then
Yeah.
I saw a chat on a Facebook group with somebody who had horrible experience with StreamYard sound, bad echo, like out of sync, and they had checked echo cancellation. So are you saying that it's what would make it that yeah. So everybody should have it checked or no?
I think everybody should be wearing headphones and leave both unchecked. I found the other day when I was not wearing headphones, I was actually running a D&D session, and I had to take my headphones off, and I clicked echo cancellation for that because any sound that was coming out of my computer was getting picked right back up by the computer, which is what creates the echo. And so wearing headphones keeps it from happening. The computer's only receiving my voice at that point, and it's not receiving any other noise coming out. So if everybody wears headphones, and you can probably leave both unchecked, and you'll have good sound.
I think that's probably true for most of even performing, right? I mean,
yeah, I use the in-ear monitors for almost every performance just to keep that from happening.
It's a bummer. All right, let's okay. So we could go around, and all of us could just keep chatting. I can tell, but we're very interested in knowing what you guys are interested in knowing. So just make sure you raise your hand if you've got questions at any point along the way. If you have something to contribute, even if you don't have a question, if you have an experience that you want to share that you think would be valuable for this group of folks, just raise your hand, and we'll pick on you or put it in the chat, and we're fine with doing that. So in the meantime, I'm going to go back around, and Charlie, I have to say your video is always so nice. The lighting is so great. I've watched your YouTubes, and you always look so sharp and professional. Can you please tell us what your setup is?
And I'm getting bad internet right now.
Drag. That was the bummer. Can you hear me okay? Oh, look at how good he looks. Too bad it's froze. Charlie warned us in advance that his internet was a little shaky.
Okay, I seem to be back now.
Okay. Share that
Okay. What's that?
that video you made for us.
Okay. Let me find this. This would be on my desktop. I don't know how to navigate a PC. Okay, let's see. Here we have, right in front of me, we have a Canon M50. It's a mirrorless.
We heard it.
You heard it. How do I get out of here? Yeah, okay. Let's go back. I need to hit the share screen, which I didn't do. This is my first time using share screen.
Oh, wow. Okay. This is always a fun experience. We'll talk about
Okay. There we go. I think we are on. Okay, so you see my
There we go.
there we go. Okay, let's find this thing, desktop and setup. There we go. Here we have, right in front of me, we have a Canon M50. It's a mirrorless camera. It's available through Canon. I got this
Charlie, we aren't seeing the actual video, if that's
No.
No, we see just Charlie's open mic.
Yeah.
Okay.
You
So you
can,
have to, yeah.
you can share specific.
I don't know what I'm doing wrong here. Okay.
Where are all the options under share screen?
What's that?
When you click on share screen, do you see more than one option?
Yeah, I see screen 1, screen 2. Oh, so let's see.
Which screen you're on.
I see.
There you go.
There we go.
It's a mirrorless camera. It's available through Canon. I got this refurbished. It was not too expensive. And then I run that down. You can see the USB cable running right here, running back. And we go into here where we've got several different ports. I think this is a hard drive. This is my sound card. This is my camera, and that's the HDMI cable. And over here we have a mouse. And that is the remote control for the lights. And what that does is to turn off the lights. And that's one of my lights. Okay, be ready. It's going to get bright. Boom.
Whoa.
So I've got, let's back up here, see if we can do two of these. So we've got two on either side of me. One is slightly dimmer than the first one, giving me a little more of a mood setting. As you can see behind me, I've got the acoustic foam trying to knock out some of the reverb in the room. Now we're going to spin around here, and back here in this corner I've got another light. The reason I have that second light is because it provides me with a little more detail around my face, and the goal of that is just so that you don't get lost in the background. Down here I've got my sound card, so I've got a microphone running into the sound card, and we will run up through, and it is directly overhead. There we go, it's an Octava. It's just a little small diaphragm microphone, like literally directly above my head, just out of the frame.
And I think that's it. Are we back to, what are we looking at now? Yeah, we just see me.
Good. It's good. And actually, I'm really glad we have a great Vern. Is this better? Hi. Good to see you, bud. I'm just going to get closer to my mic because it's about all the gain I got. This SM7 is a soft puppy. Alan Boeth is asking the same question I asked you, Charlie, and this is important to me because what you suggested didn't work for me.
Okay.
So I'm curious about this. Do you turn off the autofocus to suppress the autofocus? What is that word?
Servo?
I don't know.
Reticle. It's the little square that shows you where the autofocus is working.
Oh,
So for me, I use continuous autofocus, and within the Canon menu, there's the option to either go with just a frame or a frame that's going to chase you. And as it gets, I think now they're making them where it literally goes after your eyeball. So it'll focus directly on the eyeball, and everything else will, depending on what kind of lens you're using, will start to, like if you look at the photos behind me, they're sort of fuzzed out. So the autofocus is laying on my face, and as I move around, it's just going to stay with me wherever I go. If I turn off there's something called servo autofocus within the menu, and that helps in video to keep that autofocus straight on with me wherever I am. So that servo autofocus and it works great for me. I haven't had a problem with it at all. The only times I've ever had a problem was when I set it improperly. Or just set it so that if it's just catching the frame, then if I happen to move out of my frame or wherever the last time. So when you focus your camera, when you're going to take a picture and you sort of like half press the shutter, it locks that down, and that becomes your focus point. By going with continuous autofocus and that servo autofocus, it will chase you then back and forth. So you don't want to lock down the autofocus. You just always want it to find your subject, whatever the subject may be. Could be Savannah's cat, but he's not allowed in the room, I don't think. He's been locked out. So you just want to make sure that it's chasing the right object. I think one time I also did it incorrectly when it was new to me, and it focused on my microphone. I had a big, large diaphragm microphone in front of me, and that's what it grabbed hold of. So you want to make sure that it grabs hold of the subject that you absolutely want.
And that's the reason I think we had trouble with the autofocus.
Okay, because your microphone was...
We have a different camera. I mean, so I have a Canon Rebel T7 or some, Rebel. It's an EOS, and
that's a good camera.
It's a great camera.
Very good camera.
But I found nothing about this servo thing that you mentioned, because this is what we've been trying to capture, where you had that more clear. Maybe because there's two of us, it's different.
Maybe. Yeah, it could be getting confused on who is the focal point.
Yeah. So we've just used manual and put a little card up that we focus on, and then it's like fine tuning. I don't know. Brianna, I'm gonna bounce over to you for a quick sec. Unless anybody has more questions about lighting right now. I think that was I'd love to know, Charlie, can you share the lights that you're using and everything in the chat?
Yeah. I was going to show one thing real quickly, actually. Let me see something. Okay. So earlier I talked about that backlight. No, that's my side light. Okay, we're going to... one more. Okay, now we're going to start from the beginning. Okay, now... Let's get... There we go. There we go. So now the backlighting you can see over here is really starting to separate me from the background. Now I throw in that fill lighting, and then that's our main lighting. So I always start with the backlighting to make sure I'm getting a nice little outline of the face, and then I see how the fill lighting's just filling it in, and then I hit myself with that key lighting just to see where it's at. Okay, what was the question you just asked me? Oh, the Viltrox. Okay, in the chat.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Alan says, may have old firmware. I have to turn off the autofocus or can't lose the reticle. This is a new word for me. I love it. If you have enough light, you can use a smaller f stop for a greater depth of field. That sounds like somebody who knows what he's talking about. Thanks, Alan. And listen, just shout out to you. You're the reason that we hired Hal Walker to come and give us a TikTok demo right in between the time when TikTok was going to go away and Walmart picked him up. So that was really fun. Thank you for that recommendation, sir. All right. So, sorry, back to you, Brianna. I'm picking on you for a sec because you've been doing your StreamYard stuff. Can you talk about what you've been doing on StreamYard? It has been a long time, but you're doing like songwriter rounds and
Yeah. Mostly what I do is I am the host of a street show, which is yeah. So we have me and one other artist pop up on the screen, and then I introduce the show and then talk to that artist for a little bit, and then I go away. That artist plays, and then they give a one song warning, and then I pop back up and say thank you, and then we're done. And that's 2 artists a week. And then John, who is the other portion of the warming house, has been doing songwriters in the round. And then we've been using Zoom for other things like song salons and open mics that we don't actually broadcast to the public. You have to like show up on Zoom. And yeah, so StreamYard, you can have a bunch of people on the screen at the same time. It's super easy to hop on. And you can monitor the comments from wherever you're broadcasting to. We broadcast to 2 places, Facebook and YouTube. And yeah.
it collects all the comments. Like, so whoever's in the back is getting the comments. If you're doing multiple pages, is getting all the comments consolidated.
Yeah, and you can see them as a guest artist and as a host, depending. I mean, as a guest artist, if you're streaming from your phone, it's really hard. You have to like click on your thing and whatever. But if you're streaming as a guest from your computer, you can also see the comments pop up. And it's nice because they tell you where they're coming from. So you can be like, hey, thanks, Deanne on YouTube, even though the Facebook folks won't see the comments that the YouTube viewers are making. Gotcha. You see what I'm saying? They're coming in from 2 places to StreamYard, but they stay at their own places.
You can't respond right in StreamYard right to them, or no?
Yes, you can, and you can decide where you respond to. So you can respond just to YouTube or just to Facebook. So you can, direct your comments. But also you can go to all your places at one time too, which is what we usually do. Thanks for tuning in, and please see the show description for links to this artist's channels or whatever. So that's nice. And you can privately chat with whoever's on screen too. Like if there's anything wrong or can you turn up your volume, you can privately chat with them. And anyone who's backstage, there's like a separate little section for that.
I loved it because even after the show, it was kind of like a Zoom thing. So we sat and chatted with the folks from the venue. It's like sitting around in the green room after the show, or
exactly. And I tend to book, I've booked like half the people I book. I just like they're my friends that I haven't seen in so long, and it's like, we're catching up, and then we're like, oh shoot, it's a minute to showtime. So, and then we press go. So we chat 15 minutes beforehand before I press go. And that was a weird thing with some artists that weren't used to StreamYard yet, is that they thought that once they entered the backstage area that they thought they'd be live right away. So they were like super formal with me. I was like, oh, we're not, and I'm like sitting here eating my oatmeal and I'm like, oh, we're not live yet. It's cool. Yeah.
Hey, Sav, speaking of which, I'm going to bounce to you because I know, so are you using OBS with StreamYard?
No, it's a one or the other situation. Both of them are, I've kind of divided things into 3 different platforms. There's broadcasting platforms, which basically are the hubs that send data elsewhere. There's communication platforms, which basically are like Zoom, except Zoom is already upgraded to kind of do both. And then there's hybrid platforms like StreamYard, which both broadcast and allow you to communicate. And I use one or the other. OBS is a broadcasting platform. You don't chat in between. It's just very insular. StreamYard is the one where you can broadcast and communicate with others.
So can I ask, hi, David. I see your hand. I'm gonna get to you, but I have a quick question on that. Somebody said something to me, and this might be a tangent, so forgive me. But in OBS, is there now a way, or has there been a way always, and I didn't know, to do what you do with StreamYard, where you invite people into it?
Yeah. So there's a couple ways to do it, but they're not super easy. Like StreamYard is very intuitive. OBS, you could do it using NDI, which is basically allows you to capture something like Zoom or Skype. But I've had issues with it. And then the other thing you could do is if you own a Windows computer, you could use a plugin in OBS called Virtual Cam, which allows you to capture the screen. But it still presents all kinds of weird audio issues. So typically, if I'm doing a show with multiple guests, I use StreamYard. And if I'm just doing a show by myself with my band and we're just broadcasting to Facebook, just to have the audio integrity that OBS provides, it gives you a lot of control over your video and your audio. I prefer to use OBS.
Yeah. But so you're not using it at all with StreamYard. You're just like, you're doing, like the show that you're doing tonight is all in StreamYard.
It's so what I'm actually doing tonight is I'm using StreamYard to broadcast to Crowdcast, and the reason why I'm doing that is because Crowdcast offers a paywall option, so people can buy tickets to the broadcast tonight. It's a pay what you want right now, but you can customize Crowdcast to do whatever. You could make it a password thing. It even has a Patreon integration, so if you just wanted to stream to your patrons, Crowdcast allows you to do that. And StreamYard, what's nice about StreamYard is that they do broadcast to Facebook and YouTube and Periscope and all these great things, but they also have what's called a custom RTMP server. RTMP is common vernacular in the streaming world. Basically what that means is if something like Crowdcast offers you a streaming server URL and a stream key, which is like a password, if you put that into StreamYard, it will send all that data to that place. So that's what I'm doing from StreamYard to Crowdcast, and that way people can buy tickets and watch a show with Peter Mulvey and Good Morning Beglam and Roanoke and the Accidentals tonight. So
Friends.
Dad, we've got, all right, it's going to be early. What time does this show start?
This is at 7 p.m. Eastern time.
And right, the last thing I'm going to say is David, and then we're going to go to you, David. Okay.
Here, I'll put a ticket link in the.
Yeah, this is what we did with StreamYard with the show because I have Restream and I've got all my Facebook and YouTube set up in Restream. And then Two Way Street said, "Would you like us to cross post this somewhere?" And he sent me a screenshot of what StreamYard offers as far as links, and then one of them was the RTMP server. So I gave him my Restream RTMP info, and it went not only to the places that StreamYard told him to, but to my 3 platforms as well. At first, we didn't think it was working. And I was like, so that was, to me, I don't know. To me, all this stuff, the only thing I keep asking is, it's like I keep buying equipment and then I keep subscribing to, services. Like, I got to figure out what's working and stuff.
What drives me crazy about the live streaming audio world is that just because it sounds good to you right now doesn't necessarily mean it sounds good to the people who are listening on the other side of the screen. So what you have to do is almost sound check through different platforms and listen on the other side. It drives me crazy.
And then there's like the time of day and the weather. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Noel, you've been very patient, sir. Go ahead and unmute yourself and.
Okay, I just to ask Sav, I been using OBS and I like it because I can use audio VST plugins, and then I streamed for the coffee house with StreamYard, which was really nice. It worked really well, but I couldn't use my VST plugins. Is there any accommodation for that with StreamYard? I guess not.
Well, so, I mean, this is psychotic levels of audio control, but what I do is I typically have, let's see. So there's a program called Loopback, which if you have a DAW like Logic or Pro Tools, basically what Loopback allows you to do is you can send any reverbs or compressors or EQs from your Logic DAW into whatever you're using, such as StreamYard or OBS. That's one option. If you don't want to drop the $100 on Loopback, but you do happen to have another computer and another interface, what you can do is use the DAW, like Logic or Pro Tools, on the other computer. And there's a very complicated running of systems from one interface to the other interface to my computer. It's in my tutorial. I can actually drop the link to the tutorial in the chat. And there's a whole thing on loopback and a whole thing on how to get around it. But basically, there is a way to do it. It just involves kind of some finagling.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I thought loopback was just for Mac.
I think it might be just for Macs right now. There's another thing called Soundflower, but it's sort of the old version of Loopback. So it seems like they're revamping it. I'm still looking into things for Windows. But yeah, I haven't seen Loopback's worked the best for me so far. If you have a Windows computer and you're trying to run this, then the other way to do it would be my suggestion. But I'll just need to double check on it. I'm going to drop this tutorial in here.
I mean, really what Sav's getting at is that you can break anything.
Yes.
With enough patience and watching enough tutorials, and with, you have everybody here has really good people to ask in our community. You can break anything. And when I say break, I just mean like do workarounds for just about anything. It's I mean, you need the right equipment or the right software, but
I think as long as you have either a USB microphone or some sort of interface with a microphone, then that's a good starting point. And a pair of headphones. Those are typically the 3 things that you need for decent audio in the live streaming world.
Yeah.
So, which I feel like everybody knows at this point, but it's just good to recap it,
Totally. A lot of little things. And I always think that there's an A to B point. There's like from here, this that you're using out to the internet, right? To wherever you want people to watch you, and what happens in the middle there, and how you get the best sound and the best video and all that. And it's mind boggling. I think it can be overwhelming. And so finding like the simplest way to do it that is also effective, but so many more people are wanting to do things as like this, like as songwriter in the rounds that people can watch. And that's, I think, one of the things I love about StreamYard. Charlie, what do you use? You're muted, bud.
Generally, I use OBS just straight in, and sometimes I'm successful with it. Last night I went back and listened to what I always do a Monday night live stream on Facebook, and my audio sucked. It just wasn't good. It was out of sync. It was blasting. It didn't look like it was. So sometimes it's a little bit of a mystery. Like Savannah said, you're going to get different results on different platforms. But I think OBS just gives you enough control up front where at least you've got a good starting point.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the first thing we went for too. And then now you're finding that you don't even need it.
But I was really excited about StreamYard when I did the Two-Way Street concert a couple weeks ago. So I may be venturing back into that.
As far as the lag issue is concerned, I was having a really bad lag between my audio and my video for a while, and I could not figure it out. I thought it was internal. I thought it was OBS. It was my Wi-Fi. So that's just one thing to consider. I just figured out that it was my Wi-Fi the entire time, and all I had to do was just move closer to the router, and I didn't know for like a whole 6 months. So that's something to consider.
Well, with those streams, I go Ethernet, so maybe Spectrum's just really screwing us this week. Cause
honestly, might be.
Yesterday we were having a bad problem too.
Yeah.
Hey, Carlene, I see your hand up and you are unmuted. How are you?
I'm good. I have a StreamYard question. Our social media person is wanting to do a Facebook Live video premiere tomorrow using StreamYard. Is that as simple as like putting the video in the stream after I start it? Like, do I just create a regular event, Facebook event? Like I would for a live stream?
You would make your event starting in StreamYard. So that it kind of, there's like a placeholder, not an event, but a placeholder live stream going to like Facebook.
A welcome screen kind of thing?
Yeah, it's like you do your little thumbnail image and description, and you set the time and everything. It's not going to make a Facebook event for you. I wish it did, but it'll make a Facebook holder.
Right.
And then it's as simple as, I believe it's as simple as share screen in StreamYard. So once you go in, you're backstage in StreamYard, and then you press share screen as your option.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I have another StreamYard question real quick. Have either of you, Brianna or Sav, have you ever streamed to Twitch from StreamYard? I know that you can, but
I haven't.
I've tested it. It works.
can you see the comments? Because I know like with Periscope, you can't see the comments.
Well, unfortunately, no one is subscribed to the Accidentals Twitch channel as of yet, so there were no comments. But no, it's an interesting question. I think it probably would. Just based on what it does with other programs and other browsers, I feel like it probably would.
Okay.
We had a Twitch tech talk last week or 2 weeks ago, and I'm not sure whether Laura brought up OBS or not, but
well, I think she said she was using Streamlabs.
Okay.
Yeah, which is an OBS, so right.
Sort
of. That's a whole nother, like we had a Tret, I was hoping to get Tret in this tech talk, and she did one on OBS into YouTube. That's all she ever does. I'm sorry, Streamlabs to YouTube. It's called slobs. We have 2 questions from the peanut gallery, but we're gonna, Brianna, go.
I have a question too.
Yes.
So I'll pass it to the peanut gallery, and then
Chris, you put your hand down. So, and Michael and Nell, you posted a question in the chat as well. Is that the question you want to ask, or is that a different one? Kinda, yeah. I sort of have an answer for you, I think, but the OBS to Zoom is what Sav was talking about. But go ahead and unmute yourselves and ask your question.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Don, a lot of this is just, it's so far over my head, it's ridiculous. I'm looking at the, StreamYard 1A, and I think somebody put one in the chat there for us. But the question that we had was, we use Zoom. We're doing the two-way street tomorrow night. And Joel, as I understand it, was going to use StreamYard. And for some reason, he switched over to straight Zoom. And the question that I have about Zoom, have they updated yet to where you can use OBS with Zoom? Because up to now, as far as I know, you can't.
I don't think they have. I know that they did a big update recently and they changed all their audio settings, which I've yet to investigate. But I think it's similar to what I was saying about StreamYard being independent of OBS, being independent of Zoom. They're all broadcasting platforms individually, and typically broadcasting platforms don't talk to each other.
Uh-huh.
My understanding too on this, and Brandon O'Sullivan, who's another one of our tech, he's the Zoom guru. He's working out the bugs in this. There's a virtual audio cable, which I think is similar to Loopback, but it's a virtual audio cable, which is basically converts your OBS into it's a plugin for OBS.
Is it virtual cam or virtual audio cable?
You need both, I think. One for audio and one for video. So virtual cam does your camera and virtual audio cable, and I think they're the same company. I looked into it, but it was just too much for my brain to tolerate, so I didn't bother.
One thing to know about virtual cam is that as of now,
anything else?
No.
It has to be a Windows computer. Yeah.
Oh, right, exactly. Which I think that's when somebody brought up Loopback, because there was a guy who was talking about he used Loopback into Zoom, and
for audio. Yeah,
I think. I'm going to say something to Brianna, just to what you were talking about with StreamYard, how you wished it made the event for you. I, for the first time in my, we used Restream's beta live studio. Rod and I normally just do OBS out to wherever, just one place. And this time we said, well, I'm going to try and do all 3. So we used Restream. We set up the event one time in Restream, and it created the post and the stream with the countdown for us in every one of those places and at the event. So we didn't have to do nothing but click a button, and it was so great. So I am a big fan of Restream.
And that's what Facebook does too. It creates your thing, and it posts, and it's like this live thing is going to happen. It just doesn't create an event that you can invite people to.
Right.
And yeah. So
it did that. Like, what it did is it put a post on my page that so people could say, like, schedule it, like they could say they're going or get a reminder, and then it would post. But it's the actual link of the actual live video when it goes live. So it's not like you're doing an event. And this is an interesting thing for me because you can create an event, but that's not where the video is going to be. That's just telling people about the video. And Sav, maybe you know this better. Somebody asked me, you can't actually live stream in an event, can you? Yeah.
You can live stream not into an event. You can do it to a Facebook page, a Facebook group through StreamYard. One thing to consider is that while you can't really do you can like post the link after you've started into the event page, which is kind of counterintuitive. Facebook did organize live streams. All of your up to facebook.com/ but that is a good link just to drop in your event early on, so that way like you can be like, hey, we're live, and people can click on that link and just be there 5 minutes ahead of time and just know that that's going to happen on that page. So it's like a consolidated link where all your live streams end up being.
Wait, okay, I'm sorry, back that up. Am I the only one that you just went and got stuck to? Everybody else? Okay, good. All right, thank goodness, because Brianna did not.
Oh, dang, I'm so sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Do you mind repeating what you just said? Oh.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we lost you again. We can hear you. There you go. Oh, you're back, sort of.
Okay, I think I'm okay now. So basically what happened, there's this thing where Facebook consolidates all of your live streams, upcoming and past, under one link.
Oh, right.
And I believe it's something as simple as facebook.com/ like whatever your Facebook page name is /live. But I'll need to double check. But if you post that in your event ahead of time and then be like, hey, show up at 6:55, then people can just be waiting there ahead of time and see the live stream as it goes.
Cool. All right. I'm sorry. I'm checking in the chat and making sure I'm not missing anything. If you posted something in the chat and I didn't, and you're still waiting for an answer, you guys, because I've opened the chat, my brain's a little confused. So raise your hand, use your, but I think we have hit everything. There seems to be, Alan, is this tech? Directly to Facebook. Okay, cool. You all can save the chat too, so you can follow what other people are posting in here. And can I suggest that everybody go ahead and post any tech that you're using? If you want to, just share your tech with everybody in the chat room. We've got, maybe another 10 minutes tops to chatter for a while. Brianna, go.
I do have a question. As you're dropping the tech that you use into the chat, I have asked this at peer sessions before what microphone you like, because I got stuck on the idea that I needed a Yeti, but people like other things. Headphones is something that people don't talk about a whole lot. I would like to drop $100 to $200 on a nice set of headphones. If you are in love with your headphones, please let me know what you use. That'd be awesome. Because I have no idea. It's been a while since I've gotten gear.
I like things that don't go over my hair. Sav, go. Do you have what headphones do you guys use? Oh, she froze.
Oh, she's just looks expensive.
No. Can you see me? Gosh, this is so frustrating.
You poor thing. You're coming and going there, kiddo.
All right. Can you see me okay?
You can, but you're moving quite slowly.
Okay. I'll type it in the chat.
Cool.
I put mine in chat.
Oh, I hear you. Charlie, what about you, bud? We lost you.
About headphones? Personally, I avoid headphones whenever I can because my dad has spent years with an earpiece and he now uses a full-time earpiece, and I don't want to go down that road if I can avoid it. And I know that when I was younger, I'd go to concerts and do a lot of damage by standing way too close to the speakers. That said, I use just some real simple. I think they're just Sennheiser studio monitors that I use when I use them, and I do. To me, it's a second. All I'm trying to do is just get a basic reference. I'm not trying to do any fine tuning or anything. I rely on my these M Audio monitors for most of my fine tuning.
So wait a minute. When you say monitors, you mean your speakers that are pointing at you?
Yeah.
But when you're when you're live streaming, I think that some of the talk and Rod's about this is that
Yeah, I'll use headphones at that point.
The sound coming back out of your computer.
Yeah.
And then going back into it, and that adds echo and feedback.
I mean, when I'm doing a live stream concert, what I'll do is I'll run everything through my normal external mixer that I would use during a live show, which is I'm using an X-Air 12 right now, so I can shape the sound any way I want, and really get a very good sound off of it, and then I run that into the sound card. So at that point, my main goal is just to make sure that I'm not hitting my gain structure too hard. And I think that's my main goal with the sound card.
I'm sorry. What's a sound card?
Your interface, your USB interface.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So mine have little red lights, and when I hit those little red lights, I know I'm hitting it just a little too hard, which I did last night, and I wasn't paying attention to them. And I wasn't using the mixer last night. I just went straight in to OBS, and it looked fine on OBS, but it wasn't fine on the sound card.
Yeah, so you're back. You seem to be not glitchy at the moment. So I'm going to take it. And the in-ear monitors are very interesting to me. And I mean, not to get technical, but are they pricey?
Yes, but they're long term and they work forever, and they're really good for protecting your hearing. Not only that, but they're not super visible. Yeah, I can't recommend them enough, especially if you're looking to protect your hearing. They're recommended by a bunch of different hearing doctors, which I've been to, and very early on in the process. So that's what I would recommend if you're looking for a long-term thing that's not super visible and distracting for people, but also gives you really, really good sound. Shure I can't recommend them enough, not just because they sponsor us, but also because they genuinely produce great sounds. So.
And what mics do you use?
Well, I use a lot of Shure mics. The MV51 is really great for just you and your guitar. You can literally put it right in between your voice and the guitar, and it picks up both really nice. Seen a lot of artists using them, and they're pretty cheap. And they have a lot of different functions. So they actually have a touch screen where you can do podcast function or vocal function or just, guitar and voice function. It's great. So the MV51 is what I would recommend. And depending on how many artists you have, that can go straight into your computer via USB. But if you wanted to use like an interface, because this certain interface has internal reverb or has a really great EQ, then I recommend using, any combination of like a 57 microphone and maybe, you're using an SM7B, those things are great for warming up the sound, especially on the internet. It's nice to warm up the sound. So.
And we don't ever use this for the live streams, weirdly, because they don't pick up. The Delphina, we love our ear trumpet labs. It's been really nice. We can set it, you just got to get it the right spot and for the two of us. And I know, a lot of people have been using them, but I have heard time and time again about this MV51.
So good. It's really good.
The combination Alan talks about in the chat, the Sennheiser 935 and Shure SM81 is what I use that's what I used last night. And one thing I really like about that setup is that they are hypercardioid. So when my wife starts doing the dishes, it's not an issue.
Can I just say, I wish the chat text was bigger. I'm just getting far too old. My trifocals are not making this easy for me. So thank you, young people. Yeah, this is great. I have an MV88 for my iPhone too. I used it for recording video, and I love the interface for that. And that was really cool. So, I love that. How we doing, people? Oh, look, Joel's. Sorry, can we make fun of the? Never mind. Oh my gosh, Michael, that's a very long text. Okay, we're gonna have to save that. I'm not gonna sit here and read it. So how are we doing, people? Anybody else have any more questions? Want to just do another quick lightning round of anything that we're excited about right now and just want to share? Charlie, like,
what am I excited about right now? I'm excited about my upcoming guests for my show. I just had Andy Cohen, and I just got word from Reggie and Zoe that they'll be on soon. So and we had Annie a couple weeks ago. So it's right now I'm excited more about guests than I am about gear. But gear's fun.
But you use a lot of great gear to make your shows, and I'm really impressed by your like.
You're fuzzing out on me.
Oh, that's on your end. I think I'm good. Mark, you've got your hand raised. Yes, sir.
Thanks.
Yeah, we just had Tom Kimmel on a live stream, Focus Music.
Oh, wow. Are you bragging?
Well, it was supposed to be with John Smith live, so it was not as good as it could have been, but it's as good as we're going to get.
Yeah. Hey, so can we do a quick poll, and you can just do it with the hand raise or the yes or no thing with our attendees here. So if you are represent a venue right now who is actually doing live stream shows in one form or another, can you click the yes button?
Where is the yes button? I
You
can't find it.
Your host. So I already know the answer to your question.
Okay.
Yes. Joel. Hi, Joel. We're almost done. I'm sorry, buddy. I forgot to hit record, but this is out on Facebook.
Oh, what?
Oh boy.
Lord, my brain's not working great. All right, cool. Now, okay, we're gonna lower the hands now. Everybody who is a venue who is not live streaming now, but is thinking about it. Nope. Yes, Michael.
No, I was yes from the other question.
Okay. And Alan.
Should I yes? Okay. There you go.
Yes.
Yeah, you got to yes now. Alan, so you're not doing live stream shows, but you're thinking about it? You can just say yes. Okay.
Unmute. The deal is that I don't have a physical venue to work with, but I'm thinking about setting up a live stream studio in the house so I can either work with people or bring people in. To be honest, I hate most of the live streaming situations, and that's why when I did my Big Falcon Ridge feature, I did it all I had people submit tapes. And I put it all together and streamed it as a Facebook Live through Ecamm Live, but it was actually all pre-recorded.
Well, there's value in that. I know a lot of festivals are doing that.
Yeah. I tend to lean in the same direction as Alan. I just like the control I get from pre-recorded video.
Exactly.
Live streaming is unpredictable, and honestly, you just don't know what's happening on the other end unless you have the luxury of somebody who's monitoring that for you, and I don't always have that.
Yeah, that's really true. Dav, you got any final words for us?
Yeah, I think, going off of the conversation we were just talking about, there's value in both having pre-recorded sessions to work with that are really great for festivals, submissions, and we've done that in the past. And there's also some great value in being interactive with people. I think, we're heading into what looks to be a pretty hard winter, and people are really looking for interaction and communication, and that's why the shows where there's multiple people in the round on StreamYard really do some good. I think it's good to hear clapping. Haven't heard clapping in a long time. So, yeah, I don't know. There's good value in live streaming right now, and if you're nervous about it, we're all here. I'll personally vouch for you, and if you need help, you can reach out. So.
Hey, I'm going to ask you a question about the clapping, because so basically the people who are clapping are the other performers, right?
Yeah. 100%. And maybe if you hire some people to stand behind you in the background while you play, yes.
Exactly. I know people do that too. But hey, I'm sorry. Hey, is that Michael? Yeah.
Yeah.
Quick second. I
Mark.
want to say that one of the things that I think that is interesting to me about, well, first of all, with StreamYard, do you keep all of the artists unmuted during the whole thing? So everybody's just, it's like you're live at that point. There's nobody in backstage controlling that muting moment. Yeah.
Actually, yes. Whoever. Oh, you would know, Brianna. I'm gonna let you speak to this.
Oh no, it's a yeah. It varies for us, but you go ahead first, and then I'll say what we do.
Okay. Yeah, for me as the host, like I used to do the muting for everybody. I would just mute them all, and now what I ask them to do is just mute themselves whenever somebody starts a song. There's also like a feature button in StreamYard where you can like click on this little square and they can blow up and take up the whole screen. But typically I leave everybody like in the forest so you can see other people reacting to certain lyrics, which is, I don't know, I kind of like that, but it's preferential.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna speak to is was the feature. The feature option is really awesome, and like, and you have so much control. It's like you can also, like, we've experimented with different things. It's like you can pop up, and I'll be on the screen, and then everybody leaves, and that one person's left, and then I pop everybody back up, and they like yay, and then or whatever. But usually I like the reaction thing, leaving everybody's faces up, so it's like, so that you're sitting there with more than just the performer.
Yeah. And I think that kind of solves some of the reason that people like to do things with Zoom. And with the Zoom, even the applause is kind of crazy when it's anyway. Michael, sorry.
Yeah,
Get the last
that's
word.
okay. So I've been coming to these sessions so that I can get my. I'm afraid to stick my feet in this pool. So, but I'm gonna eventually take on all the things you've been talking about. But what I did at my shop, there's a background picture. That's my mud puddle shop. I've had it for about 15 years. It's a venue, and we've had jams. Probably had everybody you've probably seen touring has played the place. Probably 170 concerts and maybe 500 jams and some workshops. The cafe amp that I did that big paragraph in there. All I have is a Samson Go into my computer, no interface, and I just set up my cafe amp about 3 feet away, and I sing into it with an SM58. And I have another microphone that I can mic my guitar if I want to do an acoustic. I have an electric guitar amp. I just put it all about 3 feet away, the sound sources. Then I have an interview desk, and I'm now starting to interview people. And I have a landline with a speakerphone. I have an SM58 right up against it. They hear the dial tone. And I call them kind of like Letterman used to do back in the day. And I have a mannequin next to me as a co-host. But when I'm going to interview somebody, I have them text me an MP3 of their tracks, and as I move away from my one area where I'm singing the first half of a concert, then I go become the interview guy. I literally pick the camera up, I stick it somewhere else, and now you've got a frame with the mannequin and me in my desk. I dial my friend, and while I'm getting set up, I run one of their MP3s through my phone into a little set of speakers that's also over by that by the Samson Go mic. So everything's pretty. What would you call that? Analog?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know. It sounds like you've got a great routine that's working for you. And
It's all gear that I own from doing gigs, though. I it was a way not to spend any money at all.
Sure.
Yeah.
awesome. Okay, guys, here's the thing. This could go on for hours, but we're gonna wrap this up right now. And what I'm gonna say to everybody who is here, obviously, this is a big week for Farm. And we are coming to kind of what we're calling our grand finale, but it's not the end of our tech talks or the community peer sessions. I just
Yay.
keep this
Okay.
going. So for before I ask for your applause for our wonderful panelists today. I want to tell you that the community peer session on Thursday is going to be really special. Angus Finan is from FAI is going to be with us. give us a kind of a state of the music industry chat, and then opened for Q&A for about the first 15 minutes. We're going to have him, which is great. And then after that, because we're hoping for a really big attendance, we're going to do breakout sessions. And so if you are there and you want to talk about tech, you can land into a room about tech. If you want to talk about songwriting, we've got other topics, and we're expecting a big turnout on Thursday, and we hope you will all come. So if you want to keep talking about tech, we will keep talking about it on Thursday. We've got great private showcases coming up tonight. Go to farmvirtualconnections.org. Everything you need is there. You need to register for any events that you want to attend. Charlie FolkNet is happening. You're kicking off tonight at 9:00 Eastern time. Everything is on Eastern time. Keep that in mind. Sav, what time is your show? 7?
7 p.m. Eastern, yeah.
Perfect. Because
real quickly on Jenny and Robin's room, on the poster, they have it listed for Central Time. So,
right.
So FolkNet will go first, and then the Beineman room will go after that.
Right.
Listed as Central Time, the way they've listed it.
I thought she put both time zones in because they're in Chicago. So, yeah. And a lot of their guests are. So, yeah, we do have that cross, time zones in the Midwest here. So, thank you so much for being here today. This was super, super fun. Sav, I'm so grateful to you for jumping on last minute. This is really, really, it's been awesome. You're always so full of info, and I promise you we're going to pester you again to come back for another Tech Talk.
I'm ready. The album's done. We're done recording it. I'm ready to do whatever.
Nice. All right. Well, congrats on the album. I can't wait to hear it.
Thanks.
So, guys, tune in tonight. Brianna, always, you're awesome. Thank you, my friend. We'll see you Thursday. Charlie, we'll see you Thursday. We'll see you tonight, actually. Everybody's going to see Charlie tonight. And that's it. Let's do a quick gallery view and say farewell.
Thank you, Annie. Thank
you. Take care. Have a really great night.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks, Annie. Bye.
Thank you.